The long jump is a track and field event that requires athletes to combine speed, strength, and agility to leap as far as possible from a designated takeoff point. Along with the triple jump, these events are classified as horizontal jumps, as they measure distance rather than height. The long jump has a long history, dating back to the ancient Olympic Games. In modern times, it has been an Olympic event for men since 1896 and for women since 1948. In the competition, long jumpers sprint down a runway before jumping from a 20-centimeter, 8-inch takeoff board into a sand-filled pit. However, there's one important rule. If any part of the athlete's foot crosses the foul line, the attempt is invalid and no distance is recorded. To detect fouls, a plasticine strip is placed at a 90-degree angle immediately after the board. Today, some elite competitions, such as the Diamond League, use laser sensors and camera technology instead of plasticine. Athletes can take off from any point behind the foul line, but the measured distance is taken from the board to the nearest mark left in the sand. That's why jumpers aim to get as close to the foul line as possible without stepping over. To help with accuracy, each competitor can place 2 markers on the side of the runway. Each jumper has a set number of attempts. Typically, all competitors get 3 trials. The top 8 or 9 athletes receive 3 additional jumps in the final round. The longest valid jump determines the winner. In the event of a tie, the second best jump is used as the tiebreaker. In major competitions like the Olympics or World Championships, a qualification round is held. The top 12 athletes advance to the finals, where they compete for medals. For record purposes, the maximum accepted wind assistance is 2 meters per second, or 4.5 miles per hour. A long jump consists of 5 key phases. 1. The approach. Run-up. The athlete sprints down the runway at top speed. 2. The last 2 strides, adjusting foot placement for an optimal takeoff. 3. Takeoff, pushing off the board to generate both height and distance. 4. Flight, in the air, controlling body rotation using specific techniques. 5. Landing, extending the legs forward while maintaining balance. Since speed plays a crucial role, many long jumpers are also elite sprinters. Legendary athletes like Carl Lewis and Heike Drexler dominated both events. Once in the air, an athlete cannot change their trajectory, but they can use different techniques to control their body position and influence their landing. The 3 major techniques are the hang, extending the arms and legs to slow forward rotation; the hitch kick, cycling the legs in a running motion; the sail, keeping the legs extended forward throughout the jump. The choice of technique depends on personal preference. A well-executed landing is just as important. If an athlete loses balance and falls backward, the recorded distance will be shorter than the actual jump. In the 1970s, some jumpers used a forward somersault, including Tuariki Delamer, who used it at the 1974 NCAA Championships, and who matched the jump of the then Olympic champion Randy Williams. The somersault jump has potential to produce longer jumps than other techniques because in the flip, no power is lost, countering forward momentum, and it reduces wind resistance in the air. A front flip jump was subsequently banned for fear that it was unsafe. Today, we will explore the evolution of the men's long jump world record, highlighting its continuous improvement, and the athletes who have pushed the boundaries of performance. In 1896, the first modern Olympic Games were held in Athens, Greece. On the afternoon of April 7th, American athlete Ellery Harding Clark made history by winning the men's long jump competition with a leap of 6.35 meters on his 3rd attempt. This became the first ever Olympic gold medal awarded in the event, marking a significant milestone in athletics history. 3 days later, on April 10th, Clark competed in the men's high jump and secured another gold medal with a winning height of 1.81 meters. A fascinating detail from the long jump competition was Clark's attempt to use his hat as a marker to help measure his approach. However, King Constantine of Greece, who was officiating the event, removed it, stating that such aids were a professional practice. This suggests that even in the early days of Olympic competition, long jumpers were already using markers to perfect their run-up, a strategy that continues to this day. In the year 1900, American athlete Alvin Christian Craneslane won the long jump gold medal at the Second Olympic Games with a jump of 7.185 meters. He also became the first athlete to win 4 gold medals in a single Olympic Games. In addition to his long jump victory, his other 3 gold medals came from 60 meters, 7 seconds, 110-meter hurdles, 15.4 seconds, 200-meter hurdles, 25.4 seconds. Craneslane's most significant contribution to track and field was his revolutionary straight-leg hurdling technique, which was considered highly advanced at the time and had a lasting impact on the sport. On August 5, 1901, Peter O'Connor jumped 7.61 meters in Dublin. In 1912, the newly established International Association of Athletics Federations, IAAF, officially recognized this as the first world record in the long jump. O'Connor was an Irishman born in England and refused an invitation from the Amateur Athletic Association of Great Britain to compete in the 1900 Olympic Games. From 1901 to 1906, he won the AAA Championships long jump title 6 consecutive times. In 1906, O'Connor and 2 other athletes decided to compete for Ireland. However, since Ireland did not have its own Olympic Committee at the time, the British Olympic Committee claimed them as British athletes. After winning the silver medal in the long jump, the event organizers raised the British flag in his honor. In protest, O'Connor climbed a flagpole in the middle of the field and waved the Éireann Go Bragh flag, symbolizing Ireland. 2 days later, he went on to win the gold medal in the triple jump. From July 6 to July 22, 1912, the 5th Olympic Games were held in Stockholm, Sweden. American athlete Albert Lovejoy Gutterson won the gold medal in the long jump with a leap of 7.60 meters. However, during the Games, the newly established International Amateur Athletic Federation, IAAF, officially recognized Peter O'Connor's 7.61-meter jump from 11 years earlier as the first world record in the long jump. 8 years later, in 1920, after a hiatus due to World War I, the Olympic Games resumed in Antwerp, Belgium. The war's defeated nations, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Bulgaria, and Turkey, were banned from competing as they were deemed responsible for the war. Additionally, the Soviet Union, which had just ended its civil war, did not participate. Swedish athlete Reinhold William Eugen Peterson won the gold medal in the long jump with a 7.15-meter leap. His personal best came in 1924, when he jumped 7.39 meters. With the end of World War I, society gradually stabilized, and as economies recovered and developed, athletic performances also saw continuous improvement. On July 23, 1921, Edward Orville Gordon set a new long jump world record with a leap of 7.69 meters at a Harvard-Yale versus Oxford-Cambridge track and field meet in Cambridge, Massachusetts, breaking Peter O'Connor's 20-year-old record. Over the next decade, with rapid economic growth and the advancement of track and field sports, the long jump world record was rewritten 5 times by 5 different athletes. Robert Lucien Legendre, USA. William DeHart Hubbard, USA. Edward Barton Ham, USA. Silvio Paul Cater, Haiti. Juhei Nambu, Japan. Robert Legendre did not qualify for the 1924 Olympic long jump competition as his performance fell short of the required standard. Instead, he participated in the Olympics as a pentathlete. However, during the long jump portion of the pentathlon, he shocked the world by jumping 7.76 meters, breaking Edward Orville Gordon's world record. Legendre went on to win bronze in the pentathlon, but the fact that a world record was set outside of the actual long jump event sent shockwaves through the Olympic track and field community. This news deeply impacted the long jump finalists competing the following day, as every athlete now felt the pressure to surpass Legendre's unexpected record. However, despite this psychological challenge, the gold medalist in the long jump final only managed a best mark of 7.445 meters. That champion was William DeHart Hubbard, while silver went to former record holder Edward Orville Gordon. It is said that Hubbard was particularly influenced by Legendre's record-breaking jump, as breaking a world record had always been his obsession. In the preliminary rounds, he fouled on his first attempt and even sprained his right foot. On his second jump, he claimed he fell backward upon landing, costing him over 1 foot of distance. But luckily, he still advanced to the final. Due to his injury, the pain prevented him from pushing off with his heel, forcing him to rely on his toes for takeoff. Despite this disadvantage, on his final attempt, Hubbard leaped 7.445 meters to win Olympic gold, cementing his place in history. However, Hubbard's pursuit of a world record did not stop there. In 1925, during the NCAA championships, he finally achieved his goal by jumping 7.89 meters, setting a new world record of his own. 3 years later, in 1928, during the U.S. Olympic trials, Edward Ham leaped 7.90 meters, breaking the world record. Just over 20 days later, at the Amsterdam Olympics, Ham secured gold with the jump of 7.73 meters, setting a new Olympic record. The silver medal in that competition went to Silvio Couture. However, just 2 months later, on September 9th, at the Paris Olympic Stadium, Couture jumped 7.93 meters, surpassing Ham's world record. By October 1931, at the 6th Meiji Shrine Games in Japan, Chuhei Nambu pushed the limits even further, achieving 7.98 meters, a new world record, falling just 2 centimeters short of the historic 8-meter mark. 1 year later, at the 1932 Los Angeles Olympics, Nambu won bronze in the long jump. However, just 2 days later, he redeemed himself by leaping 15.72 meters in the triple jump, setting his second world record. In 1935, a miracle happened. On May 25, 1935, the legendary Jesse Owens made history at the Big Ten Championships. In just 45 minutes, he broke 3 world records and tied another, an achievement that remains one of the greatest feats in sports history. First, he tied the world record in the 100-yard dash, 9.4 seconds. Then, in the long jump, he leaped 8.13 meters, becoming the first person to break the 8-meter barrier. He followed this with world records in both the 220-yard sprint, 20.7 seconds, and the 220-yard hurdles, 22.6 seconds. In November 2005, NBC's Bob Costas and University of Central Florida sports historian Richard C. Crepo named this day the most exciting day in U.S. sports history since 1850. Owens' long jump world record stood for 25 years, a testament to his greatness. 1 year later, on August 4th, 1936, at the Berlin Olympics, Owens jumped 8.06 meters, setting a new Olympic record. But that was just one of his 4 gold medals. He also dominated the 100 meters, 200 meters, and 4x100 meters relay, proving himself as the greatest athlete of his time. His victories shattered Hitler's Aryan supremacy myth and left an indelible mark on Olympic history. After 12 years of waiting due to World War II, the Olympics returned in 1948, held in London. American athlete Willie Steele won the gold medal in the long jump with a leap of 7.82 meters. Notably, Steele had served in the U.S. military during World War II, stationed in Africa and Italy. After the war, he returned to competition and had previously jumped 8.06 meters in 1947. At the 1952 Helsinki Olympics, another American, Jerome Biffle, won the gold medal with a jump of 7.57 meters. Then, on August 12, 1960, history was made. Ralph Boston broke Jesse Owens' 25-year-old world record, jumping 8.21 meters in Walnut, California, during his final warm-up before the Rome Olympics. 3 weeks later, he won gold at the 1960 Rome Olympics with a jump of 8.09 meters. Boston wasn't done yet. On May 27, 1961, he extended his own world record to 8.24 meters at the Modesto Relays. Then, just 2 months later, on July 16, he soared 8.28 meters at the USA versus USSR athletics meet in Moscow, setting yet another world record. But in 1962, a new challenger emerged. On June 10th, Igor Tarovanesyan from the Soviet Union jumped 8.31 meters in Yerevan, Armenia, surpassing Boston's record and marking a new chapter in long jump history. May 25, 1963, Philip Shinnick jumped 8.33 meters at the Modesto Relays, a performance that should have been a new world record. However, the lack of a wind gauge at the long jump event led to the record being unrecognized by the IAAF. Shinnick spent decades fighting for his record to be acknowledged. It wasn't until 2003 that USA Track and Field finally recognized it as a national record, and in 2021, World Athletics retroactively validated it as an official world record. That same year, he received his world record medal from the current long jump world record holder, Mike Powell. At the same Modesto Relays, Ralph Boston jumped 8.49 meters, but wind assistance exceeded the legal limit, making his jump ineligible for record recognition. However, 1 year later, on August 15, 1964, at an Olympic warm-up meet, Boston equaled Igor Tarovanesyan's world record of 8.31 meters. Since Shinnick's record was still unrecognized, this was the official world record tie at the time. Then on September 12, 1964, at the Los Angeles Olympic Trials, Boston set a new world record with a jump of 8.34 meters. At the 1964 Tokyo Olympics, Boston took the silver medal with 8.03 meters, while Britain's Lynn Davies won gold with 8.07 meters, and Tarovanesyan secured bronze with 7.99 meters. May 29, 1965, at the Modesto Relays, Ralph Boston continued his dominance, setting a new world record of 8.35 meters, improving the mark by just 1 centimeter. October 18, 1967, 2 years later, Igor Tarovanesyan broke Boston's record, jumping 8.37 meters at an Olympic test event in Mexico City. From 1960 to 1967, Boston and Tarovanesyan engaged in an intense rivalry, pushing men's long jump to new heights. During this period, Boston set 5 world records and tied another, making it one of the golden eras of the sport. However, all of these achievements would soon be overshadowed by a legendary moment. October 18, 1968, the Beeman moment. At the Mexico City Olympics, in his first attempt of the final, Bob Beeman stunned the world by soaring 8.90 meters, 29 feet, 2.5 inches, shattering the previous world record by nearly 2 feet, 55 centimeters. When the result was announced, Beeman stood in confusion, unfamiliar with the metric system. His teammate and mentor, Ralph Boston, converted it for him. The realization hit hard. Beeman collapsed onto his knees, overcome with emotion, experiencing a brief cataplectic episode due to the shock. Even his competitor, defending Olympic champion Lynn Davies, admitted, "You have destroyed this event." Thus, a new term was born in sports, Beemanesque, describing a performance of unprecedented greatness. Beeman's 8.90-meter jump remained the world record for 23 years, and as of today, still holds the Olympic record, standing unbroken for 57 years and counting. Four years after Bob Beeman's legendary performance, Randy Williams won the Munich Olympics gold medal with a jump of 8.24 meters. If not for Beeman's historic leap in the previous games, this would have been the best Olympic winning jump in history at that time. Over the next 8 years, long jump performances continued to improve. In the 1980 Moscow Olympics, Lutz Dombrowski of East Germany soared 8.54 meters, securing gold with the best jump of the season. However, due to the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, the United States led a boycott of the Moscow Olympics, with over 50 nations, including China, Japan, Canada, and West Germany, refusing to participate. In 1981, a new star emerged, Carl Lewis. At the USA Outdoor Track and Field Championships, he jumped 8.62 meters, the second best jump in history and the season's best performance. July 24, 1982, at the U.S. Olympic Festival in Indianapolis, Lewis leaped 8.76 meters, improving his personal best by 14 centimeters and again achieving the season's best jump. June 19, 1983, at the USA Outdoor Track and Field Championships, Indianapolis, he jumped 8.79 meters, reducing the gap to Beeman's world record to just 11 centimeters. August 1983. At the inaugural World Athletics Championships in Helsinki, Finland, Lewis won gold with an 8.55-meter jump. In 1984, as another Olympic year arrived, Lewis continued his dominance. February 27th, at the Millrose Games, New York, he jumped 8.79 meters, setting a new indoor world record that remains unbroken to this day. August 1984, at the Los Angeles Olympics, Lewis jumped 8.54 meters, securing gold. He also won gold medals in 100 meters, 9.99s.
Johnson away well. Stewart running magnificently. Granny's in front. Lewis will get him though. Lewis wins the gold. What a runner. Lewis first. Granny's
200 meters, 19.80s, Olympic record. 4 times 100 meter relay, USA team. By winning 4 gold medals in a single Olympics, Carl Lewis matched the legendary feat of Jesse Owens, marking the arrival of a new track and field icon. January 18, 1985, the first IAF Indoor Games was held in Paris. Jan Leitner won the gold medal with a jump of 7.96 meters. However, in the men's outdoor competitions, the best performance of the season belonged to Carl Lewis, who jumped 8.62 meters at the IAF Brussels Grand Prix. In 1986, Robert Emyon from the Soviet Union emerged as a dominant force. At the first Goodwill Games in Moscow, he jumped 8.61 meters, setting a new European record. Later, in the European Championships, he won gold with a jump of 8.41 meters. May 22, 1987, at the Tsag Kadzor Olympic Training Center in Armenia, altitude 1,800 meters, Emyon jumped 8.86 meters, missing Bob Beeman's world record by just 4 centimeters. This mark remains the European record to this day, and is the 4th best long jump in history. At the Rome World Championships, Emyon jumped 8.53 meters but lost to Carl Lewis, who jumped 8.67 meters and took silver. This was also the first year that the IAF officially recorded season best performances. July 17, 1988. At the U.S. Olympic Trials in Indianapolis, Carl Lewis jumped 8.76 meters, achieving the season's best. September 27, 1988. At the Seoul Olympics, Lewis defended his long jump gold medal with a leap of 8.72 meters. He also won gold in the 100-meter sprint, setting a world record of 9.92 seconds. Mike Powell took silver with 8.49 meters, and Larry Myrick won bronze with 8.27 meters. June 17, 1989, at the U.S. Championships, Larry Myrick jumped 8.70 meters, the best jump of the year. Mike Powell finished second with 8.52 meters. June 30, 1990, in Villeneuve-d'Ascq, France, at the Paribas Athletics Grand Prix, Mike Powell jumped 8.66 meters, recording the best jump of the year. This period saw intense rivalry between Carl Lewis, Mike Powell, Larry Myrick, and Robert Emyon, setting the stage for one of the greatest showdowns in long jump history in the coming years. It was August 1991. The third World Championships in athletics was taking place in Tokyo, Japan. And on August 30th, at the Olympic Stadium, history was about to be made. Two giants stood at the center of this legendary battle. The first was Carl Lewis, a two-time Olympic gold medalist, a two-time world champion in the long jump, and just 5 days earlier, on this very track, he had set a new world record in the 100 meters, clocking 9.86 seconds. He was at the peak of his powers, seemingly unstoppable. The second was Mike Powell, the silver medalist from the 1988 Seoul Olympics, a challenger with his sights set on the ultimate prize. The competition began, and Lewis quickly took control. In the first round, he jumped 8.68 meters, setting a new World Championships record. Then, in the third round, with a favorable wind, he soared to 8.83 meters, a personal best. Howell, determined to keep up, attempted a massive jump in the fourth round, but the officials ruled it a foul. Frustrated, he knelt by the takeoff board, searching for the faintest sign of his mistake in the plasticine marker. Meanwhile, Lewis, unshaken, unleashed an astonishing leap of 8.91 meters in the fourth round. The crowd erupted. It was the longest jump anyone had ever recorded, surpassing Bob Beamon's legendary 8.90 meters from the 1968 Olympics. But the wind was too strong, 2.9 meters per second, beyond the legal limit for a world record. Then came the fifth round, the moment that would change history forever. Powell took his position, steadied himself, and sprinted down the runway. He launched into the air with flawless technique, gliding farther than ever before. When he landed, it was clear. This was something special. The measurement came in 8.95 meters, a new world record. The 23-year-old mark set by Beamon was finally broken, and with a legal wind speed of 0.3 meters per second, there was no denying it. But the battle was not over. Lewis, still in top form, responded immediately. His fifth jump measured 8.87 meters, this time with a slight headwind of negative 0.2 meters per second. It was the second longest jump of his life. Each athlete had one final attempt left. Powell's sixth jump was a foul. Lewis leapt 8.84 meters, yet another incredible distance. When the dust settled, the results were clear. Mike Powell was the new world champion. Carl Lewis had 3 of the 5 longest legal wind jumps in history, but had to settle for silver. This showdown became known as the greatest long jump competition ever. Even after 34 years, no one, not even Powell or Lewis, has come within 20 centimeters of Powell's 8.95 meter record under legal wind conditions. It was a night of legends, a moment forever etched in the history of athletics. On July 21, 1992, Mike Powell jumped 8.99 meters at a competition in Sestri Levante, Italy, where the altitude was 2,050 meters. However, due to a tailwind of 4.4 meters per second, the result was not considered valid for a world record. At the subsequent Barcelona Olympics, Powell only managed to jump 8.64 meters, finishing second behind Carl Lewis, who jumped 8.67 meters, claiming his third Olympic gold medal. On July 27, 1993, Powell set a world-leading jump of 8.70 meters at the International Grand Prix in Salamanca, Spain. On August 21st, Powell won the World Championships in Stuttgart with a jump of 8.59 meters, successfully defending his title. His main rival, Carl Lewis, was absent from the competition due to injury. That year, a new long jump star emerged, Cuban athlete Ivan Pedroso, who won the Indoor World Championships in Toronto with a jump of 8.23 meters. In 1994, Eric Walder set the world-leading jump of 8.74 meters in El Paso, USA. In 1995, Ivan Pedroso shone brightly. On March 11th, Pedroso won the gold medal at the Indoor World Championships in Barcelona with a jump of 8.51 meters. At the International Grand Prix in Salamanca, he jumped 8.71 meters, which became the world-leading performance for the year. Pedroso also won the World Championships in Gothenburg with a jump of 8.70 meters. Additionally, Pedroso jumped 8.96 meters in Sestri Levante, the same venue where Powell set his 8.99-meter mark. However, due to a tailwind of 1.2 meters per second, the Italian Athletics Federation did not submit the result to the International Association of Athletics Federations, IAAF, as the wind speed measurement was deemed invalid due to someone standing in front of the anemometer, which interfered with the accurate reading. Unfortunately, the world record was not recognized.
In 1996, Carl Lewis jumped 8.50 meters at the Atlanta Olympics, winning his fourth Olympic gold medal in the long jump, becoming the third athlete in history to win gold in the same event at 4 consecutive Olympic Games. With a total of 9 Olympic gold medals, he ranked second in Olympic history. In the top 10 legal tailwind long jump performances, Lewis held 5 spots, and in the top 25, he occupied 10 spots, the most in history, with no one surpassing him. Lewis retired in 1997 and was voted by the International Olympic Committee as the Sportsman of the Century in 1999.
On March 8, 1997, Ivan Pedroso jumped 8.51 meters at the Indoor World Championships in Paris, winning the gold medal. Later, on August 5, at the World Championships in Athens, he jumped 8.42 meters. The world-leading performance for that year, however, was his jump of 8.63 meters in Padua, Italy. On March 7, 1999, Pedroso jumped 8.62 meters at the Indoor World Championships in Maebashi, Japan, winning his 4th Indoor World Championship title and setting a competition record that still stands today. This jump also became the world-leading performance for the year. On August 28th of the same year, at the World Championships in Seville, Spain, Pedroso jumped 8.56 meters, securing his 3rd World Championship gold medal. At the 2000 Sydney Olympics, he won the gold medal with a jump of 8.55 meters. In 2001, Pedroso successfully defended his long jump titles at both the Indoor World Championships in Lisbon and the World Championships in Edmonton. By then, Pedroso had accumulated 1 Olympic gold medal, 4 World Championship titles, and 5 Indoor World Championship titles, making him one of the greatest long jumpers, behind only Carl Lewis and Mike Powell. In 2004, the Olympic Games returned to Athens, and on August 26, in the men's long jump final, American athlete Dwight Phillips jumped 8.59 meters, winning the gold medal. This was the best Olympic long jump result in nearly 30 years after Carl Lewis. The world-leading performance for that year was Phillips's jump of 8.60 meters on August 2nd at the Google Games in Linz, Austria. On June 7, 2009, Dwight Phillips jumped 8.74 meters at the Prefontaine Classic in Eugene, USA, surpassing Irving Saladino, the 2008 Olympic long jump champion, who had jumped 8.73 meters at the Fanny Blankers Cone Games in Hengelo, Netherlands. Phillips's jump became the best men's long jump performance in 30 years.
After a 5-year slump,
men's long jump performances began to steadily improve starting in 2015. On March 10, 2019, Cuban athlete Juan Miguel Echeverria jumped 8.92 meters in Havana, with a tailwind of 3.3 meters per second. At that year's World Championships in Doha, Jamaica's Tajay Gale jumped 8.69 meters, becoming the first Jamaican male long jump world champion. This jump ranked in the world's top 10 and was the best performance at the World Championships since 1995. On May 26, 2021, Greek athlete Miltiadis Tentoglou jumped 8.60 meters at the International Jumping Meeting in Kalathea, Athens, marking the world-leading performance for that year. On August 2nd, in the men's long jump final at the Tokyo Olympics, Tentoglou jumped 8.41 meters on his final attempt, overtaking the injured Echeverria, and with the second-best jump of 8.15 meters, he won the gold medal. On March 18, 2022, Tentoglou jumped the world-leading 8.55 meters at the Indoor World Championships in Belgrade, winning the gold. On July 16th at the Eugene World Championships, Tenteglue jumped 8.32 meters on his fifth attempt, seemingly securing the gold, but Chinese athlete Wang Jianan surpassed him with a jump of 8.36 meters on the final attempt, claiming the title. Wang became the first Chinese and Asian male long jump world champion. A year later, at the World Championships in Budapest, Tenteglue reclaimed the world title with a jump of 8.55 meters. On June 8, 2024, at the European Athletics Championships in Rome, Miltiadis Tenteglue leapt 8.65 meters twice in his final two attempts, breaking the championship record he previously held. 2 months later, on August 6th, at the Paris Olympics, Tenteglue jumped 8.48 meters to successfully defend his Olympic title, becoming the second person in history after Carl Lewis to achieve this feat.
Since 1991, breaking the long-standing world record has been the dream of every long jumper. There have been a few near misses, most notably Mike Powell's own 8.99-meter jump in 1992, which was wind-assisted and therefore ineligible. Today, several elite athletes, consistently jumping over 8.60 meters, are capable of making history. These include Miltiadis Tenteglue, current world number 1 and reigning Olympic champion; Wayne Pinnock of Jamaica, silver medalist at the Paris Olympics and silver at the 2024 World Indoor Championships in Nanjing; Mattia Furlani, bronze medalist in Paris and world indoor champion in Nanjing; and Juan Miguel Echeverria, silver medalist from the Tokyo Olympics, rumored to make a comeback this year. Now 24 years since the last time Tokyo hosted the World Athletics Championships, the long jump world record's birthplace will once again welcome the world's best. Who will become the next legend? Let's all keep an eye on the 2025 World Athletics Championships in Tokyo and witness the next chapter in long jump history.